Okay. All right. Hey, everybody. This is the Show Me the Money call. And I'm really, really excited for this call. This is going to be something that I would actually like to do each week because I do think one thing I've noticed after years and years of coaching calls, and I do this myself too, sometimes we get so caught up in the daily actions of coaching, booking, sponsoring, and we're going through all these steps and we're working hard, but our paycheck is not necessarily reflecting the hours we're putting in. And I think it's easy to lose sight of where the money is coming from, what the line commissions, where they're coming from, what coaching commissions, what lines are coming from, where your volume is falling. Are you taking advantages of all the bonuses? And I do know that it was interesting the way, as they've changed the comp plan over the years, the bonuses really are a windfall of potential money for us that if we just focus on those very specific actions, then our paychecks will significantly grow. So the first one, so I've printed out like this little sheet, so it's kind of what's new and like just a quick update on what everything is. And the ones that I've highlighted as being, I think, the most significant, I think, so hobbyists make up 60 something % of our paycheck. So if you ever think that the people who flex in and flex out aren't necessarily important to your business and it's all about the leaders, I'm all about my leaders. Like, this is why I'm doing this Maven group. I wanted to really spend a lot of time with my highest achieving go-getter stylist, because that's what inspires me. That fuels me up. It makes my business grow because you motivate me to work harder and try harder. But we can't forget the hobbyists because they really are such an important part actually of where a lot of our income is coming from. So this $1,000 level is the key to that. So as we are having, we have lots of happy hobbyists. For those of you who don't know what a hobbyist is, it's just somebody who flexes in, flexes out, want to do it at their own pace. They're through Jumpstart and they just kind of want to work this business how they want to work it. We all have teams full of those women and they are to be valued and supported. But we really want to coach them to this $1,000 level. Most hobbyists sign on because they want free product. And with this new $100 every single month, that's an extra $1,200 in free product they can get every year just by selling 1,000. They can choose to sell 1,000 through One Trunk Show. They can choose to sell 1,000 on the go through social media, by sharing bags. There's 1,000 ways we can coach them to shoot for this 1,000. But that's going to be one of our most impactful things we can do with our team right now. Like Charlotte just mentioned Virginia, that you're doing a good job reaching out to your girls. That's the first thing we want to say to them when we reach out is, oh my gosh, did you see this? Because if we can get that thing and show them all the different ways that they can get to that 1,000, because imagine what that's going to do for your team volume if that person who used to just go for qualifying now goes for 1,000. Not only are they getting the $100 in free product credit, which is what they want. So keep that in mind, that $100 is super important to them every month. They're going to get 25% now on apparel. So if they sell 800, they're only making 20%. If they sell 1,000, they're going to get 25%. And if you actually look at the breakdown of what people are buying now, over half the orders, if not more, are clothes. So the order sizes are significantly up because of clothes. So if someone buys an $89 sweatshirt, they usually throw on a pair of earrings or a necklace or something to go with it. But the majority of that order is clothes. So their paycheck is going to be dramatically increased, per order because they get that bonus 5%. So just make sure that is like crystal clear to your hobbyists. So that's the thing that jumps out at me probably the most in terms of hobbyists. Of course, they have the normal, do y'all know about all, obviously no first time promotion bonuses. So make sure we're going to highlight that, especially with all of our new stylists. So if you promote a career rank for the first time in 2019, there's some really nice bonuses there. There's the Heart of Leadership bonus, which that is something we really want to focus on with our stars, because that is like a kind of slam dunk big bonus. It's $1,000 and it's hitting star stylists are high. It actually goes bigger and bigger the higher up the career rank you get. The fun thing for all of us who are building stars too is the idea of the the matching bonus. That's the one matching bonus we can get, is the matching Heart of Leadership bonus. So if you have a star who has never hit Heart of Leadership bonus before, it's beneficial for both you and for that leader that's on your direct first line, of course, to go for that bonus. But the big one that I think we all need to like hyper focus on over the next 6 months are these mentor building bonuses. These things could significantly add up. We all know that like sponsoring is kind of our main goal with this Maven group. We know that new is the glue, and the fastest way to grow our paycheck is through sponsoring big. So imagine if you sponsored 5 this month and you got them to associate. And this, for those of you who are thinking, okay, so like, you know, maybe 1 in 10 are going to get to associate or something like that. It's actually much higher than that. And Jacinda, who's our new home office hire, her entire job is to help new stylists launch strong. So you're going to see a lot more support out. And she was only at her second day when she was at director's retreat, but I told her about the bring along a friend bonus with the $800 shopping spree. And she's like, that's insane. She's like, how is every single new stylist not getting that? Like, that should be a low bar, that every single person does a show, brings along a friend who does a show, they get the $800 shopping spree. So we've talked about that for years, but because we know that this is probably the fastest way to grow our paycheck is to build new associate stylists, it needs to be kind of on our weekly forefront. So we're going to look at who we've sponsored each week, but also are we making sure that every conversation we have with them is about bringing along a buddy and supporting them in that, and making sure we get that new stylist launched strong, and that we can coincide both of their launches within the same month. So that's just a guaranteed thing. So let's dig into our reports, because like, what would you guys say? I don't know how much you've really kind of done a deep dive into your reports, but when you have looked in the past, where do you feel like you could grow your paycheck? Is there something outside of these two things? Do you feel like you're doing a really good job focusing on these two things? I know personally for myself, I'm pretty good at helping people get to associate the first time, but I've never really focused on helping them maintain it. So while I might get random $100 here and there, I am not focusing at all enough on helping really stay with them for those first 12 months so that they hit it consistently. What about you?
I have not had a lot of success getting people to associate in their jumpstart. I would love to know what magic you work to make that happen with everybody. I had one that was really close. I was so excited, and she just missed it by like $100. So that's definitely an area I need to focus on.
Okay, good. Does anyone have any advice on that front? I can give my advice if not. Well, I do think that a couple of things play into it. First of all, like I said, I talk about it on every single call through Jumpstart. I do feel like in Jumpstart, that's our time where you want to have weekly conversations with your new stylist, and you need to make that seem totally normal and not at all hard. Don't make a big deal about this is a promotion. Let's go for leadership. Don't make it seem like it is just bare bottom. Here's what everybody does. So we're going to launch you on Tuesday. Let's talk about who would be really fun to do this with. All of you who've sponsored so far this month, hopefully you've already had this conversation with your new stylist, and she's already invited 10 of her friends to the How to Become a Stylist group. He'll give her some easy words to say, like, oh my gosh, I just dove into this business. I totally didn't want to whim, but I'm really excited. I think it's going to be awesome. Let's do it together. Like, give her some really simple words to say and make her reach outs about that the exact same as her launch schedule and exactly the same as her booking her first 4 trunk shows. Like, that is just exactly what we're going to do. It is the norm. Everybody does it. It's $800 sitting on the table. It's crazy to leave it there. So like, that's the kind of language you're really going to use with those new stylists is, this is just what we do. This is what launching your business looks like. And when you do that, you guys, seriously, probably 3/4 of my new stylists probably hit it last year. It was rare for people not to hit it. But again, I didn't do a good enough job helping them maintain it. So some of those associate stylists that I built in the last calendar year aren't even stylists anymore. You know, they did it for 6 months and they flailed after that. So we're going to talk about that, like, as the next 6 months go, is not only how to get them there, but to keep them there and to help them kind of grow beyond that. But I do think there is something about super casual. If you are at their launch, let's say you flip their show and you happen to be there, you certainly don't have to be there. You can have all these conversations over Zoom. But my entire mission at that first show is to help them find a friend there, then and there. Be like, oh my gosh, you should totally do this with her. Like, look how much you love. Like, this would be so fun. We can launch you next week. You know, super casual. So.
I really loved the words to say from Hoopla. I think it was Beth. Sorry, don't hit your sister in the head. So she just said, like, on that first phone call, she had a really great email template she sent out to her new stylist. It asked the first day, like, what your goals are, like money wise, and then also something else. And then, like, that first phone call was like, I love your goals, but, like, let's revisit those in 60 days. Like, let's just go for it right now. And then she said with the money, whatever their goal was, like, money wise, like if they said $1,000 a month they'd like to make, they made it look, she said, like, there's like a few different ways you can do that, and like laid out the different ways, meaning, like, you know, you can do 4 trunk shows, or you could do like a trunk show and have 2 friends do this with you, or what, you know, all those different options. And I did that with my a stylist I joined in June, and then also in August, and that was really a nice words to say that make it sound so casual, and like everyone of course is like, oh yeah, I want to do like 1 show and like and still make the same amount of money. So yeah,
I love the idea of replicating yourself and saying, you know, like, yes, you go out and do 20 shows and make this much money, but if you replicate yourself, then you're working smarter, not harder. I use that term a lot.
I think Kelly, I'm right there with you with, I mean, my success rate of getting stylist to associate in Jumpstart is not that high, but I definitely also have the struggle of like getting them there, they promote, and then they never hit it again and they kind of fizzle out. And I feel like one thing that could really help impact that is coaching and like teaching the simple business plan. Because part of the simple business plan, because I think that what happens is, okay, they bring on their buddy, they get their bonus, and then they're not like ever talking about the opportunity ever again. So they're never sponsoring anyone else. And as we all know, like, just because you sponsor someone and they qualify 1 month, it doesn't mean they're going to qualify every single month. So then they're not going to hit associate anymore. So I think if we teach people the simple business plan in days, like I would get, I don't know, this, I'm just totally thinking out loud. Coach them to launch during days 1 through 30, and then days 30 through 60, I would think maybe that could be about like teaching them the simple business plan and how to like bridge the gap from days 60 to 61 using that, because part of the simple business plan is sponsoring somebody every month. So like all those new customers you're meeting each month, you're talking to all of them about the opportunity. So you don't just stop after you got your bonus.
Right. So that it's not like you sign on one person and try to maintain with that person. It's every single month you're doing this and sponsoring a month as part of the ad. Yeah, I really do think if we coach to sponsoring as the norm, even beyond that first one, obviously you're doing it for the shopping spree, but then you help them do the second one, and then you help them do the third one. And you keep that on their forefront of their mind. And I know that's a big, it's funny. They're obviously home office is responding to the kind of lower sponsoring numbers of the business right now by hiring, obviously one of the top sponsors, Samantha Ballard, and by sponsoring this. I mean, it is the number one kind of focus. So we are going to be exposed to a lot of sponsoring stuff this year. But we have to ask ourselves constantly, are we talking about it at our shows? Are we replicating that for our girls? Are we coaching to it every time we talk to them? Do we make it seem normal and easy and fun? We've got these Monday night calls in place to make it as simple as possible so that people, even the busiest person, thinks that it's no big deal to bring along a friend, that it's actually normal and it's part of our business. But we have these systems in place to kind of help them make it very streamlined and easy. But yeah, I like that idea. And we should actually do a call, Charlotte, for me next week about the simple business plan. Because even when you say that out loud, I'm like, okay, is that, how many are we booking? How many are we sponsoring? It changed. Yeah, I feel like it probably hasn't really changed. It's probably the wording that we've used for it has changed so much. But I like that idea about making that kind of part of our coaching strategy.
And I think as part of that, just coaching new stylists on like how they fit it into their life and what it looks like in their daily schedule. Like I find that people fall off because they're like, oh, I meant to do it, but I was too busy. Like I try to really work with people on, okay, let's look at your schedule. Where can you fit in 20 minutes or 30 minutes? Like have it, work with them to make it like part of their life. So it becomes like a regular routine thing instead of a once in a while thing.
Oh my God, I love that. And especially that will play into the associate stylist level, but it will also play into the $1,000 a month thing. That is something we all need to go back and do with our team, is show them how to fit this in 20 minutes a week. Like, I think that's brilliant.
Right. Or 3 20-minute increments, or 1 hour increment, or whatever works for you.
Yeah. I was even a little bit worried about that with this group, that I love all of the conversations. I love the energy. I love the Marco Polos. I love the threads, but I've gotten several messages being like, oh my gosh, thank goodness for the email, because there's so many posts. I'm so far behind. I'm getting lost. I don't want people to think you have to be able to do this business full time to be a part of this Maven program and to have your business blow up. So I hope that message is spread, that this is something you can do, in the pockets of your life. And I've been using now, rather than trying to sit down and watch all the Marco Polos, I'm in my car so much during the day that I just literally like prop the phone where I can't see it, and I just hit play, and they just start going through all the messages. And I can, I get so many ahas while I'm sitting there thinking about it. Same thing with these Zoom calls for the people who are not able to get on all the ones they want to today. Get on the ones you can, and then take a second to listen each week to the ones that you weren't able to get onto when you're whatever, at the gym or running around or in those like kind of empty pockets. Because I think it could be, and this is something I always heard from my London girls, that like everybody doing big things in London was doing this full time, and that the girls who work full time thought they couldn't do it. And so and that's it's somewhat of an excuse that we make, but I also want that message to be loud and clear, that you can actually be a top leader in this company in pockets of time if you're smart with your time. But I love that, Lisa. I'm totally going to do that with my personal generation. Basically how to fit this in, because it's what we recruit on all the time, that we can do this flexibly. But I don't necessarily think we coach to that afterwards.
And it's so individual for every person too. It's helping them figure it out.
And I think too, that can be a recruiting conversation. So when you're sponsoring someone and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just so crazy busy, be like, I can show you how to work this into, 20 minutes a few times a week. Yeah, I love that.
And I think adding on to what Charlotte was talking about with the Simple Business Plan too, it's whatever bar you set for them at the beginning is what they're going to think is normal.
Yeah.
Right. So if they come in not knowing anything about Style & Daughter, about sales, or like most of us, and you say, okay, well, you're going to sell $500 a month, like they think, okay, that's what stylists do. But if you come into it as, no, we do the Simple Business Plan, and you're going to have 4 trunk shows a month, and you're going to sponsor once a month, like they're going to be like, okay, that's what stylists do. So I think a lot of times I used to do it too. You're like in your head and you're like, I don't want to scare them away, and I don't want them to think that this is so much work and but it's not. Like, I'm doing it and I love it and it's fun. So how come I can't share that with someone else, how simple and fun it is, And I was doing it alongside of teaching, and if anything, it helped me have a better day because I could look forward to working after I got home from school, because it was so draining, but setting that high bar from the very beginning. And then I like what you said, Charlotte, about like launching them early and then using the next part of their jumpstart to focus on, okay, this is how we run our business. Like, this is what you're going to do consistently to keep getting that paycheck that you love so much, kind of thing.
Yeah, I love, especially during Jumpstart. I think Jess just said the thing about, or one of you did, but how, okay, here's what your goals are long term. And so on day 61, we're going to work backwards into your goals and what you want out of this. But for Jumpstart, we're going to get you a boatload of product, and here's how you do it. Here's what the Simple Business Plan looks like. And then when they do the 4 trunk shows and bring along a friend and get the bonuses and all that good stuff, then, throughout Jumpstart, then you can figure out what they want out of it, because not everybody wants to do 4 a month. But like you said, Liz, if you make that the norm right from the beginning, then they're going to have a higher bar. I think that's the biggest thing with newer leaders, is they get scared of putting their goals on somebody else or setting too high of a bar for them. But you're right. People typically will rise to the bar, or they'll tell you what they want out of it, and then you can help them back into that goal.
Well, I think the other thing too, because so the Simple Business Plan is like really all about getting 20 new customers a month. And so it's more flexible, and you can have that conversation of like, okay, where are you going to get your 20 new customers from? Is it going to be from online shows or pop-ups or trunk shows? And like that doesn't include repeat orders that you are going to get through your VIP group or just online or with like a repeat hostess with people that you already have met. So I think it's teaching them to grow a long-term sustainable business. And I think this is actually like bridging to what I was going to say. The other place that I think that I'm missing out on my paycheck is just like line 1 and line 2 commissions.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, because, a lot of these stylists launch and then maybe they're around for 3 months and then they barely ever do anything again because they get to the end of their comfort zone, who do you know list, and then they fizzle out. But if I were really teaching them the Simple Business Plan and how important it is to get new customers, that could be different and would maybe like get them thinking more creatively about where they're going to source those new customers from. And one of the things that I love that I wrote down, they gave us there's this new Simple Business Plan tracker. If you guys don't know about it, it's in the lounge and it's really good. And it's a lot more stuff about like relationship management and relationship building. Like Sam, I know you're on here listening. It's a lot of the stuff that you've already been doing on your own, and now it's like has little check marks where they can go through and keep track of it. But Colleen said, if you don't fill this out monthly, you didn't do your job. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm really I'm not tracking how many new customers that I'm getting. So I'm like really focusing on this. But I think that could kind of bridge that gap too, from, launching them strong to then helping them stay consistent over the long term so that they can be, selling that 1,000 PQV, which is going to in turn help me earn more money too.
Yeah, we do let a lot of people slip through the cracks. I think kudos are a big part of that too. I think if people get noticed when they do stuff and celebrated, they're more likely to do more stuff. So I think constantly kind of looking at your reports. I sort my reports by personal generation all the time. And it's something like I really hadn't done since Christmas. And I just sorted it, figured out the 2 girls that had sponsored, made a big deal about them on my page this morning, reached out to them personally and said, I'd love to do a new styles training with you and your new stylist to make sure that person, because they're both kind of in and out, flexed in and out kind of people that sponsored. So I want to make sure that new person on the second line is getting everything they need. So, okay, I'm gonna have to look that up, the relationship management piece. I like that. And I think reaching out every new quarter too and figuring out what someone's goals are, I think is a good way to kind of open up that conversation. This is kind of a good time of year now. People are settled into the new year. And so to reach out and say, I wanted to make sure you saw this. This is so exciting and super easy to do, like very much as a hobby. Here's a couple of ways that you could sell $1,000 a month and get that $1,200 shopping spree every year. I think the instant gratification of being able to spend it every month is huge too. Okay, let's talk line. Oh, how are we on time? Oh, we got 4 minutes. Line 1 and 2 commissions. So for those of us who've been around for a while, which is a lot of people in this call, I think it's obviously our teams go much deeper now. And so I think reminding yourself who those line 1 and line 2 people are and making sure they're on your radar. Because while we love our ringers way down our line, the line 1 and 2 commissions really do go far. So how could we make that like a weekly practice now to make sure that, like Virginia reaching out to her whole team today, I know it's once your team needs to get bigger, that's a little bit harder, but I know personally for me, I'm doing a lot of texting, videos, like personal messages. If I've got something exciting to tell, instead of just texting words, I'll text a video of myself being like, oh my gosh, did you see this? And if they respond back, I immediately get a conversation going with them and kind of try to engage them that way. Especially line 1 and line 2 in my personal generation. What other things can we do to kind of keep those people on our radar and kind of make sure, because I do hear people say a lot, like, I've been at this level for so long and my paycheck was bigger last year. How can we, and I think this is something future calls with this, I want us to have our reports in front of us so that we can figure out, like, go through and like actually compare month over month. Like, I remember one time I had like 7 or 8 different directors hit in November. And I took a screenshot of the last day of the month of every single one of them and put them side by side, and their paychecks varied dramatically. And it was based on how many first line qualified stylists they had, and where that volume was falling. So director volume can fall, you know, on your third line, and it's not going to, that's 1%, right, of your paycheck. So versus if those people were on your first line, that's, you know, 12% or more, depending on kind of what your career rank is. So it made a huge difference how many qualified new stylists, and the people who had the biggest paychecks were the ones that were sponsoring a lot. So obviously we have to keep reminding ourselves that new is the glue, new is the glue, new is the glue, sponsor, 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 sponsor. It's great to get the shows. We need the shows to get in front of the people to sponsor, but we all need to just, I almost think we need to put something like on our phone, on our computer, to keep it on the forefront of our mind all the time, and remind ourselves that that is the fastest way we're going to grow our paycheck, is to grow or to sponsor and then promote new associates. And I kind of want to make that our hyper focus over the next 6 months, is really tracking weekly. You know, did we sponsor a lot in January? Did we help them get to associate stylists? Are we helping them maintain it? So that, as we haven't seen a big chart with all of our people, so that we can track, did we talk to them every single week about bringing along a buddy? Did we talk about, once they get to the associate, helping them get to senior and helping them build up like that? Oh, last big bonus is obviously major part for everyone on this call is a star or above. Star bonuses or star percentage increase. Does everyone get what that is? That's pretty significant too. Oh, so Lisa, basically hit, I think Amanda's got a little feedback. I'm going to mute her. Lisa, it's a new bonus, 3% increase in commission for if you hit star pay rank or above. So if you're star pay rank or above, if you're selling 10,000 and you are normally at 35%, is that right? Is it 3 or 2? I always get that wrong.
It's if your pay rank, if you hit pay rank star plus and any power seller level, you get a 3% additional bonus.
So instead of making 30%, you'll make 33. Instead of 35, you make 38, right? Okay. Is that 2,500 in sales or above?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So an extra 3%, which again, if you're a strong seller, that's pretty significant jump in your paycheck. Yeah. And that's just for stars. So they really are working very hard to help stars make more money. So personal sales are going to be super important along with building associates.
And that's just a test for the next 6 months, and then they're going to see how it went and potentially make it permanent. So It depends how successful it is.
So if it drives sales basically of stars, if we all do a good job selling, then they'll keep it.
So everyone do it. I want the money.
I know. Me too. All right, guys, it's 1, so I got to hop on my next one. So I'm going to end this, but thank you guys. And I would love to get ideas for this call, because I think like next week, maybe if we can have our reports pulled up. I'm trying to figure out how to like do Zoom and have my reports pulled up at the same time. And Alyssa, we could share screen, but I don't think y'all just want to necessarily look at my numbers. I think you want to look at your own. So maybe all of us take a little bit of time this week to dig into our reports and kind of do a little analysis over our fall. And especially if you have a year-over-year comparison of a month where you hit the same pay rank, but your paycheck was bigger, you look at your line 1, look at your line 2, look at where your volume was falling, look at your associate stylists and your builder bonuses, and kind of get curious about that. Because the numbers are all there and they work out like they work out, but I do know that bonuses, builder bonuses, increased line 1 and 2 commissions, and personal sales are definitely the path. Sound good?
Kelly, anyone on the call can share a screen so we can all look at each other's.
Oh, let's do it. Oh my gosh, that would be actually really fun. Okay, maybe next week we'll do that. I'll learn that technology next week, or one of y'all can do it, but maybe whoever's on this call will pop up your reports and kind of dig in and be like, oh, look, did you notice this person? Christine and I did that for our coaching call all last fall, because she does not look at reports ever. And we kept finding so many diamonds in the rough that she didn't notice. Okay, guys.
All right. Thanks, Kelly.
Bye, guys.